What's up, everybody? This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, and this is MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast presents Spinoff Series Thursdays. Yeah! What's up, everybody? This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, your host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, and this week's sponsorship is from Newsly. Newsly is a all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android. It picks up web articles about the most trending topics on the web at any given moment and read them to you in a natural human voice. For the first time in ever on the internet, the entire web becomes listenable, all in one place. Browse articles from topic choose, start playing, start scrolling, and start listening. You can follow any topic as you specifically as you like, from sports, science to Bitcoin, even for the Kardashians. It will find you on the latest article and you read them to you out loud. And they have podcasts as well. Explore trending podcasts from over 50 countries. Our podcast, MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, is on there as well. Yes, it is. Shout out to Newsly for that. I started using it as my default podcast app. Download and use Newsly for free from www.newsly.me or from the link in the description. Use the promo code MrGentleman that I will also put in the description and receive 1 month free premium subscription. So you already know, y'all, download Newsly now. Check it out. Support them, y'all. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, your host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, and enjoy the show. You are now listening to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast presents the Old School Show with Ken, aka MrGentleman,
and the star Roddy, where we talk anything old school.
True. Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, 1/4 of the Premier Boys Podcast, and your host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And welcome to another new episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast presents the Old School Show, a part of Spinoff Series Thursdays. Hope all is well. And myself and my co-host, the star Roddy, we are back with another new episode of the Old School Show. And on this episode, we will be discussing reboot shows. So we're going to dive into the original series and the reboot series of the show that we will be talking about today. And y'all already know what to do. Sit back, relax, and I'll be right back.
Hi, Miracles. It's Mariah Dumas, and you are now tuned in to MrGentleman's Lifestyle Podcast.
Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, and I am the host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And this commercial break is brought to you by MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. On MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, we interview many guests about their life journey, pretty much where they come from and where they're at now. Also promoting their brands or whatever they're doing at the time they come on the show. We also have the host talk about personal stories about himself and everything that he's been through. And also we have fun conversation about anything music, anything old school, relationships, wrestling, and many more. And y'all can tune in to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sundays at 12 a.m. We are also on every Thursdays at 12 a.m. for Spinoff Series Thursdays, where we have all of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast Spinoff Series all in one Day, where we have a conversation about music podcast every first Thursday at 12 a.m. The Old School Show with myself and the star Roddy Rod every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. And we have Date Night Talk podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B every second and third Thursday at 12 a.m. And y'all can tune in to MrGentleman Like That podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, The Pods, and many more. Or y'all can check it out on the official website of MrGentleman Like That podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlikethatpodcast.com, www.realmrgentlemanlikethatpodcast.com, and tune in every Sundays and Thursdays at 12 a.m. for MrGentleman Like That podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in to this commercial break of MrGentleman Like That podcast. Back to your regularly scheduled program. Cheer!
This is the star Roddy Rod, and you are now listening to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And at this time, it's time for another episode of MrGentleman Like That podcast presents the Old School Show. And you know, I gotta bring back my bro, the co-host of the Old School Show, my bro, the star Roddy Rod. Welcome back to the Old School Show.
Yeah, what's good, man? I'm here. What's up? It's the Old School Show. Anything old school, what's good?
Yes, there you go. And it's definitely been a while since we did the show. First, how you been, bro? Since it's been a while we did the Old School Show. How you been, by the way?
Life stuff. Just trying to keep my head up in these times. That's it.
There you go. There you go. And yes, and today we're gonna talk about reboot shows. We're gonna talk about reboot shows. And question, Roddy, how you feel about the reboot shows?
Some of them shouldn't have been rebooted. Some of them are really good though, but I really enjoy some. And then others, I feel like they should have just left alone. So that's how I feel. Yeah,
I feel like reboots, so it depends on which one. I feel like some of them is actually really good. There's a lot of successful ones. Some of them, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But we're gonna talk about some. We got a list of them. We're gonna talk about today. And I feel like we spoke about a little bit of it, like frequency, but we never did a full episode on this until basically now. So the first show that we're gonna talk about is Full House. So first, the original show is Full House. It started on 1989, and then this reboot have the Fuller House started in 2016. So we're gonna talk about how you feel about the original, and then how you feel about the reboot.
The original was good. It was nice. You had a lot going on, a lot of issues, between what was it, DJ and Steph and Michelle and the guys, and it was really a lot going on. It was really interesting, but I feel like even with the reboot is added on because everybody's more mature and they couldn't bring back everybody, so it was a little missing piece there, if you could say. So that's how I feel about it. But I love Full House during the time, yeah.
Yeah, Full House was a really cool show. I watched Full House growing up. Of course, when it was on TGIF, every Friday night. I believe it came at 8 p.m. either, I think, like before Fatty Matters. And Full House was a really good show, and I like every character of the show. It was a good family show, Then of course when I heard about Fuller House that came on Netflix, I was like, oh right, okay. And it was based on the daughters, DJ family. Stephanie was back, Kimmy was back. She had a daughter. and they pretty much took over the house, and it was really good. Most of the cast did came back, except for Mary-Kate Ashley, of course. But yeah, I felt like Full House was a really good show. You know, it was a really good show, and yeah, Full House had 9 seasons. Full House has 5 seasons, and it was rumored for another season once they found out about Bob Saget passed away. I'm not sure that is still a thing, because they were basing that newest season based on like a tribute season for Bob Saget. But I'm not sure if that happened. But yeah, I can say out of all of the reboot shows, Full House I believe was one of the most successful one, in my opinion. Do you feel like Full House was one of? Do you feel like Full House was one of the successful ones?
Full House was just all right to me, in my opinion. It wasn't. It did its thing. It did what it was supposed to do with the continuation, and it seemed like it flowed. It seemed like it wasn't like too much of a change up with the social norms and a lot of the stories. So it seemed like it flowed.
Yeah,
that's what I gotta say for that.
I did go. Alright, the next show we got on the list is Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which the original one came out in 1990 and had 6 seasons, and then we got the reboot called Bel-Air that came out 2022, which is not exactly a direct reboot, but they made this one more of a drama than it was. The original was a comedy. How you feel about Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and then how you feel about Bel-Air?
I love Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was great. It was funky. It was great. It was fun. Will Smith was funny. The storylines was funny. The whole Hillary being a diva, and of course, rest in peace, James Avery. Yes. Love him. Love his character. Jeffrey was the fact that they call him G, and the storylines, like in the later seasons, was real. Like the one with the gun, remember that?
Yeah.
And then the one when they said Carlton's a sellout, like
yeah.
It was one of those shows like they started off really funny and cool, and then they started to put a lot of later season. They started to put drama. Of course, with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you had the change of the outfit.
Yeah.
And the introduction of Nikki, and you had a lot of guest stars on there. Will Smith definitely had a lot of guest appearances, including Donald Trump.
Oh, right.
And Sherman Hemsley.
Yep.
Which was one of my favorite episodes, with Sherman Hemsley episodes.
Yeah, mine too. He was the one there for a couple times actually. But he played different roles though.
Yeah, I remember. I just remember like his episodes was always fun to watch.
Yeah. No, I was just saying that he played different roles, different characters on Fresh Prince.
Oh.
In one episode he played himself, like the one you mentioned, the same episode Donald Trump was on. Then another one he played when you put Uncle Phil's rival.
Yeah. And I think Boyz II Men or New Edition had a music video on Fresh Prince.
Well, actually, funny thing, both of them was on the show. Both of them.
Somebody made a music video.
I think with BBD, I believe.
BBD. Okay, yeah. So I was close.
Yeah, you just do with them, man. No, we do New Edition. Like, I mean, it's just like 3 of them though. But yeah, you're right. BBD. And yeah.
So like that was one thing that I noticed. Like, no, I just loved Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It was fun. It was entertaining. Everybody pulled their weight. The storylines, I liked it. Yeah, I loved it.
I'm gonna talk about Fresh Prince and we'll talk about Bel-Air. I agree with you. You pretty much said a lot of it. I enjoy Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It's definitely one of my favorite comedy, it's a sitcom growing up. I loved it even more pretty much as I got older, and I love every character, of course. Everybody was dope, Carlton, Jazz, Ashley, Hillary, Recipe Uncle Phil, Pharrell, and yeah, they had a lot of guest appearances. I had a crush on Lena Long character, Lisa, growing up. So Fresh Prince was definitely one of the best comedy in the '90s, definitely. And it's a really good show. And I agree with you. They did had a lot of deep episodes from Carlton is called to Sell Out, the Gun, a Will Father episode, which I called the Will Father episode, which was
oh yeah, definitely that one as well.
A really really deep episode, and yeah. And I agree, even though they changed Uncle Viv, even though the other Uncle Viv was pretty okay too. She wasn't as bad, But I like.
But you know how it is with Hollywood. Yeah. Once they start to fall in love with somebody, they don't want you to change the person in the middle of the show.
No, that's a fact. But I'm happy years later.
They rather the person would have been, killed off or went away, then still keep the character. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, of course, how they did it was, petty. Of course, how they did it was petty. But I'm happy years later, Will and Janet, made up, and stuff like that. So I'm happy about that. So yeah, at least they made up doing a reunion. So that's all that matters. But yeah, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was a really dope show. I enjoy it. I even do enjoy it to this day. Now, how you feel about Bel-Air?
Bel-Air, I don't know. The dramedy was just too much. Like, they switched all these characters. I don't know. Me going into Bel-Air, I'm pretty sure the listeners will understand too. Like, I guess we expected them not to do a whole 360 on these characters, but they changed everybody up. Like, you had the whole storyline with Will coming to Bel-Air and Jazz driving him in the car, and then they become friends, and Jazz is dating Hillary and stuff. Like, it was just a little. It put me in a little shock, if you understand,
Yeah.
To see all the changes, and then next thing you know, you see the Jeffrey being Jeffrey character's totally different, and Dr. Phil's totally different, and Hillary's now Ashley's gay. Ashley's lesbian, right?
Yeah. Or bi, or something like that. Yeah.
So. And then Carlton is just angry all the time and smoking coke, sniffing coke. So yeah, the first season I tried to give it a chance, but the second season was a little too much. I gotta see what they do next. I'm trying to stick it out and see what they do when they come back. I won't give up on it. I wasn't impressed how the second season came out though, and the controversies and the storylines was just turning me off because of how they try to make it into like a whole woke 2023 new millennium show. It was turning me off as an older person. So that's how I feel.
How I feel about Bel-Air? I feel like Bel-Air was a good show. I know everybody was expecting the same from the '90s, but I knew it wasn't. Because mind you, the dude that made Bel-Air did not own the characters from the '90s. Quincy Jones made own the characters from the '90s. So I was pretty expecting them to be different. I was expecting them to be different. I mean, yeah, some of the characters was interesting of how they did it, with the Ashley being lesbian. I feel like for Carlton, I felt like Carlton would have been the same way if they made a drama version in the 90s. I feel like for this one, they actually gave him more out there, basically. You know, like he pretty much acted how a rich person was supposed to act, basically.
Wow.
Like basically, yeah. Like, give him more deep in his character. That's basically what I got. And you know, you said about the modern. Yeah, I think that was kind of the point. You know, it wasn't supposed to be like them in the 90s. It's supposed to be modern day. So I wasn't surprised about, you know, the woke part, none of that. But I feel like Bel-Air is a good show. Yeah, first season was really good. Second season was, I agree. I wouldn't feel the second season either. I wouldn't feel the second season, but the dude got a third season coming out. Has not been announced yet. But I'm taking a guess that season 3 of Bel-Air will either be later this year or the beginning of 2025. So, you know, since this is Bel-Air was one of the shows that was affected by the writer's strike. So, yeah. And out of all the shows that we got on the list, this is one of the only reboot that is still currently going on. A lot of the reboots that we got on this list is pretty much canceled right now, which is shockingly enough. And a lot of them were affected by the writer's strike. But yeah, so Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was on NBC for 6 seasons, and Bel-Air is on Peacock and going on season 3. So there you go, and that is Bel-Air. Next we got The Wonder Years. Now the first one was made in 1988. The second one was made in 2001. I know you did not watch the original, Roddy, so I'm not going to ask you about the original, but have you watched the reboot of The Wonder Years?
I watched the reboot. The reboot was nice. I watched a couple episodes. I think I'm going to continue it and see if I like it more.
Yeah, definitely support that show, so that show can get re-picked up again. So I'm gonna talk about it then, since I grew up as a fan of the original. So the original one day was really good. It pretty much was about a white family, and pretty much followed him around in the 1960s and stuff like that. Basically like a coming of age show, basically. You know, he would grow up as a character, basically, and stuff like that. The main character for the original was Kevin. And he had a friend, he had a girl that he liked who was next door. And yeah, basically, talk about a white family in the 1960s to 70s. The original one had 6 seasons, and the original one got canceled. So the original one was on ABC, just like the reboot, and it got canceled due to controversial with the main character, pretty much. So yeah, and the original ended really bad. Basically, it didn't really have a great ending. I mean, it completed its run, I should say. It just didn't get renewed. Basically, it just announced that it was the final season, and yeah, I did watch the original run growing up, but also watched it when it came on repeat when it came on Channel 11 a couple years later. And now we got the reboot of One Year that came out in 2001. And when I found out they were having a reboot of this, I was really happy about it. You know, the original guy, Ben Savage, pretty much was who played the original guy. He pretty much started to co-wrote the reboot. Also, Lee Daniels did a reboot as well. And I enjoyed the reboot. You know, it was a really good show. I liked how that they follow a black family on the reboot, you know, and it was a really good show. By season 2, the original guy got fired. The original guy who was the producer got fired off the show due to past situation that I mentioned that why the show got canceled in the first place. And it kind of hurt season 2. It was to the point that season 2 got delayed heavy for no reason. Season 2 got delayed heavy from, it was supposed to come out, I believe, the beginning of 2023. then they pushed it back all the way to the summer of 2023. They didn't give it no promotion, and ABC pretty much didn't care about it. Let's say that. And the fact that ABC didn't care about it, even though it was a successful show, ABC canceled it because they didn't care about it, and plus the writer's strike played a big part in that too. So yeah, I feel like one of these shows that should have been picked up by another network. So yeah, as of now, the show is on Netflix now, and if y'all keep watching the show, it's a possibility Netflix can pick it up for next season. So yeah. Also, shout out to Don Chino as he was the narrator in the reboot one.
Yeah, he was the narrator, right?
Yeah, and the original one, if you remember Home Alone, and you remember one of the burglars, he was the narrator in the original, one of the burglars of Home Alone. So yeah, so One Year was a really good show, and there you go. The next show that I'm gonna talk about is The Game. So I'm gonna give a little backstory. Fun fact, a lot of people do not know this about The Game. Originally, The Game was a spinoff of Girlfriends. I believe it was season 5. No, it was season 5. They did a backdoor pilot where Melody was Joan's cousin, and they did a whole episode on Girlfriends, and it was a whole completely different cast. Other than like almost everybody was the same except for Derwin and Kelly. Everybody else was pretty much the same. Then once The Game got picked up, CW gave them a whole show. First 3 seasons was on CW. Then they got canceled, and then for a couple of years they campaigned for the show to come back, and then it came back for 6 other seasons on BET. Then we got a reboot a couple years later on Paramount Plus. That was on Paramount Plus in 2001, 2021, and landed for 2 seasons before Paramount Plus canceled it, which also was affected by the writer's strike. So how you feel about The Game, the original one and the reboot?
The Game was dope, yo. It was a dope show. Like, very interesting, very exciting. I love The Game. When it first started, I liked The Game. The couples Derwin and Melanie and Jason and what was his wife's name? Kelly. And the mother and Tasha Mack and Malik. Yeah, and the cousin was fun too.
Oh, TT.
TT was fun, yeah. And I enjoyed it. I'm not even gonna lie. I enjoyed it. I watched it every time it came on, every chance I did during that time. Even when they showed reruns on BET and whatnot, I was watching them before BET picked it up.
Yeah. Then how you feel about when BET actually picked it up? How you feel about it?
It just started to decline in my eyes. The quality of it started to decline with the changes, the cast. It was doing too much with the guest appearances. Then they had Brandy on the show, and they just started to bring in a whole bunch of different girls that was making the show. It was bringing more drama to the show, making it seem more like it was supposed to be like, you know, one of them ratchet shows in a way.
Yeah, it was less of a sitcom and more of a drama, basically.
Yeah, and all the situations that the later seasons from the reboot, it just turned me off from watching it at the time. Well, the BET version, yeah. So the BET version eventually got canceled too, right?
Yeah. It got a proper ending. It got a proper ending for BET version. It ended with 9 seasons.
That was when they got married, or no?
Yeah, first three who we talking about Darwin and Melody.
Yeah.
Yeah, first three season 3 they got married. Season 3 they got married. And then when they got to BT, Merlin and Melody and Darwin was only for I believe 2 more seasons. They left by season 5, and then from 6 to 9, Lon London, Jay Ellis took over the role, and then when they added Brandy as well, and a whole bunch of other characters within
out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it just made my stomach twirl, the decline of the show. As a fan, I was disappointed in all the changes.
Yeah. And I completely get it. How I feel about the game was we were talking about the reboot after I'm done, but how I feel about the original game was I was enjoying it. I was enjoying the game. At first when it first came out, I wasn't like OD heavy on it because I wasn't watching the first 2 seasons, but I wasn't watching season 3 like that because I was at home a lot. Season 3 was airing, but I was enjoying it. And then when it got canceled, I was upset about it because I felt like, well, dang, because I remember during this time it was canceled because the first writer strike, literally.
Yeah.
Because it was the first writer strike. So, and the game was a really good show. I felt like it didn't deserve to be canceled the way it did, especially with CW. They would move channels too, and basically certain show that they didn't want on CW. It was a lie. So when it was on BT, I was happy because now they get to, the words of Cody Rhodes, they get to finish the story. And first 2 seasons when it was on BT, season 4 and 5, I enjoyed it. And then season 6, I was enjoying it because of Lauren London was on it, and I love Lauren London. I had a big question on London, but then the show itself just got pretty much. I agree with you. It was a lie. It was a lie, and it wasn't the same. But you hear the thing, when you get attached to a show and things just start to change, you just continue to be a fan of that show, basically. You just want to stick it out to the end because you're curious to see how it ends. And that's pretty much what I did with the game. Like, even though the show wasn't the same, I still kept going because I was already a fan of the show. And that's how that was. And the ending for the original BT version wasn't the greatest ending. It felt rushed. It only had 9 episodes. At this point, I feel like BT just wanted to get rid of it at this point. The ending was not great. Yeah, it felt rushed. I feel like, we need a proper ending. So when I heard about the reboot, I was a little bit happy about it. Could we get like a proper ending? But yeah. But now let's talk about the reboot. How you feel about the reboot of the game that came out in 2001? Maybe 2021.
It was okay. It was good to see certain characters back, and now the storyline is basically like a new generation with Brittany and her friends, and the I think Malik is in charge of the new team. Malik is in charge of the new team. So it felt good seeing these characters back in the new light, and it was an okay transition. It wasn't too bad of a transition. It wasn't too far-fetched. They didn't throw in a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo in there to make you get turned off. So they did a good job. They did a good job, honestly, with trying to keep the authenticity and building the timeline up, because now you have, I think now Tasha have kids.
Yeah. But Tasha had kids in the end there, but the daughter grew up in this one, basically, a little bit.
And then, of course, Brittany's the main character and everything.
Yeah.
And she was, what's her name? Jason Pitt's daughter and all that. So
yeah.
It's, it's okay. I could deal with it. I enjoyed it when it came out. I enjoyed watching it. At first, I was like, "Yo, so many changes." I don't know. I guess when I see these reboots, I I get so accustomed to the old one that I don't want to see these characters come on. And I think Derwin came on the first episode, and Jason Pitts, right?
Jason Pitts did. Derwin didn't get a chance to come on.
Somebody else came on.
It was somebody else. Somebody else that came on. TT came on the reboot. I think it was. Somebody else that came on. The sad part, Derwin that was supposed to come on. They're supposed to come on for season 3. But sadly,
yeah, it was word. It was word that they were supposed to come on. Yeah, I remember that.
Him and Melody was supposed to come on, but then the show got canceled. And that's the part that sucks, you know. How I feel about the reboot. I thought it was really good. Of course, it was a new generation. I felt like the characters they had were actually pretty interesting. You know, I was invested in it. I liked the storyline in it. I liked the season 2 better than season 1. Pretty much season 1 is pretty much they try to get their foot back in. But season 2, they went in, and I enjoyed season 2. I was looking forward to for season 3, but then of course, writer's strike happened. Panama pretty much canceled the show. Panama canceled a lot of shows during this time. Like, gee Louise, like it was pretty crazy and stuff like that. And I was just like, dang. And it was rumored that, you know, Melody and Derwin were supposed to come out for season 3. So I was upset about that. I was upset the way it ended, you know. But yeah, I enjoyed the reboot of the game. You know, it just sucked. I just felt like it should have not been on Paramount Plus though. I felt like it was on the wrong streaming platform. I felt like it was on the wrong streaming platform.
Yeah, it was on the wrong platform. It could have been on something else.
I agree. Maybe even BT Plus. I feel like if it was a BT Plus, it probably would have done way more than Paramount. Yeah. I like when I saw it was on Paramount Plus, I got a feeling something bad gonna happen with this show. I knew something bad gonna happen with this show, you know. So I wasn't really surprised, you know. And like I mentioned with the one thing is they didn't care. They didn't care about it. They only do that with the black shows, basically. They just don't really care about it, you know. And that's what sucks, you know. And that's what sucks. So yeah, stuff like that. But there you go. Next we got the Proud Family. You know, with the original Proud Family came out in 2001, it had 3 seasons, and then it had the reboot, the Proud Family, Louder and Prouder, that came out in 2002, which had 2 seasons and season 3 on the way. How you feel about the Proud Family?
I love the Proud Family. Proud Family was the shit to me. Like Sugar Mama, Bobby, Trudy and Oscar, the twins and Penny. I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. No, Proud Family was a good show, you know, when it was on Disney Channel, you know, theme song of course was dope, you know. I like every character on it, you know, Penny Proud, Sugar Mama, Oscar Proud. And one thing about the Proud, they had a really dope cast, yo. They had a really dope cast, the original, you know, of course, Keller Pratt, Tommy Davidson, Joe Marie, you know, and it was a lot of those people in the Proud Family. Then of course Orlando Brown, the original. So yeah, Proud Family really dope. Louder and Prouder though. Keke Palmer was a good addition to Louder and Prouder. I feel like it was a good reboot. I felt like nothing didn't really change except that they were like 1 year older. It was, you know, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Louder and Prouder, you know, and I'm happy that it got another season coming. And it's good to see everybody back, and of course except for Orlando. But yeah, I like Proud Family, Louder and Prouder was really good. And how you feel about Louder and Prouder?
Louder and Prouder, a lot of the topics, you know, opened my eyes, you know, with the 2 dads and whatnot. The topics was really interesting, but I realized what they were doing was like trying to make it for relatable for the culture for this time and stuff. And and I'm not gonna lie, they kind of did a good job incorporating this culture and this time period, especially with the guest appearances with Lizzo and the guy and a couple other guest appearances. They made it. They did a good job. I'm not gonna lie. Power Family Reboot was definitely a good one for me.
Yeah, I agree. They did a good job with guest appearances and everything about that show. You know, it was not a bad reboot. I think this also was one of the most successful reboots as well. And yeah, there you go. And season 3 will be coming back. They didn't fully announce it, but I think it'll go out together to come back later this year, either later this year or 2024. Alright, next we're gonna talk about Saved by the Bell. Saved by the Bell. So you know the original Saved by the Bell came out with their first show called Come On In, Miss Bliss. This came out in 1987, 88, when that timeline. Then after they switched up the whole show, Come On In, Miss Bliss was more about the teachers. It wasn't about the students. But then they switched the format to Saved by the Bell. That was dropped in 1989. Would have 4 seasons. Of course, the original cast members were Zach, Slater, Jesse, Kelly, you know, Screech, and Lisa. They had 4 seasons. Then they had a spinoff show called Saved by the Bell, The College Years, which was a primetime on NBC, which only had 1 season, but it was bad, so they canceled it. But also during this time, Saved by the Bell had a reboot during this time. As early in the 90s, in 1993, they had a reboot called Saved by the Bell, The Next Class, which Mr. Belden was part of that reboot. And then when season 2 came, Screech joined them on that reboot, which had 7 seasons. Just as even more successful than the original. I don't know how, but it was more successful than the original. And then years later, Saved by the Bell had another reboot that came out in 2020 that came on Peacock. So, and that only had 2 seasons. So I want to ask you, how do you feel about the original Saved by the Bell? And did you watch the reboot?
I love Saved by the Bell. Saved by the Bell was fresh. It was fun. It was a real cool theme song.
It really was. I agree with that. It really was.
And Zach was my favorite character in Screecher. And you know the girls was cool too. It was a dope show. I loved it. I didn't watch the reboot stuff.
Alright, so I guess I take it from here. So Saved by the Bell. I enjoyed Saved by the Bell. You know, when it was NBC, it was a really good show and stuff like that. I love all the characters. Even though I did like Zach as well, even though Zach was trash. I did all the girl. I had a crush on all the girl cats when I was younger. I ain't gonna hold you. But of course, Kelly was my biggest crush, though. Of course. And I enjoyed the storyline. Of course, Saved by the Bell was cheesy, but it was fun. It was one of those fun cheesy shows, though. It was cheesy, but it was one of those fun cheesy shows. And yeah, I enjoyed Saved by the Bell. And then when it went to college, which I wouldn't say that was a reboot, that was more of a spinoff. So basically, the original character moved on to something new. It was cool too. I like that it was kind of connected to the original Saved by the Bell with some of the same characters. Zach, Slater, Screech, and Kelly was on it. You know, in the original, Essence Atkins was one of the main characters in the college years in the pilot episode, and then they switched it because Kelly wanted to come back, which was weird, but yeah, but then that got canceled. They gave them a finale movie to pretty much fix their wrongs. But then they had the New Class, which I watched New Class when it was aired in 1983 on Saturday mornings. I mean, it wasn't the same. It wasn't great. You know, it wasn't great. But when Screech got added to it, when he came with Mr. Belden, it got better. but of course it didn't hit the magic of the original. You know, of course a new class. I don't remember it fully, but from what I remember, it was a cool first Spinoff, first reboot show. Remember, Say Bye Bye too. And then I rocked the Peacock reboot show, and it wasn't that great. It wasn't that great. Yeah, it wasn't that great. Slater and Jesse was the main characters in the reboot, though. They were the main characters. They was both with Jesse was the principal of the reboot, or she was like one of them, like assistant principal or something like that. And Slater was like the gym teacher in the reboot. Zach and Kelly, they both made appearances. And Lisa made an appearance in season 2, which I didn't really finish season 2, and they made a tribute episode to Screech. So I mean, yeah. Even though I didn't finish the reboot, it did get canceled after 2 seasons. But it wasn't a great reboot though, in my opinion. It wasn't a great reboot at all. I'm not gonna hold you. Yeah, that was Saved by the Bell. But I do agree, the original theme song was amazing, son. But the reboot theme song was terrible because Lil Yachty was singing the reboot theme song, and off the back, that turned me off the back. So yeah. Let us carry on. I'm just disappointed when I talk about that just now. Next show we're gonna talk about is we talk about this show so many times on this show. I think I lose my voice talking about the show so much. We talk about the show so many times, like Boy Meets World. One of the pretty much video show that we spoke about on the show, Boy Meets World, and Boy Meets World came out on 1983, which was a part of TGIF. It had 8 seasons, and then in 2014, it had a reboot show called Girl Meets World, which was based on Corey and Topanga's daughter, that came out in 2014 on Disney Channel. How you feel about it, Roddy?
The umpteenth time, I love it. Everything about Boy Meets World, I loved it.
Thanks.
Everything. The storylines, Mr. Feeney, the storylines between Corey and Sean and the brothers and everything, and I just loved it. Even now as an adult, I try to rewatch episodes because I loved it so much.
Nah, I'm not gonna hold you. As much as we talk about the show, I love the show. You already know that we talk about this show so many times. I love every character. I had a crush on Topanga growing up as well, and it was an amazing show. I love the storyline. I love the show when it got older because it thought to be more relatable for people my age. And it really had many lessons on the show. And also, we all need a teacher like Mr. Feeney. You know, he was an amazing teacher. He was an amazing character. Yeah. Boy Meets World was just an amazing show. You know. And how you feel about Girl Meets World?
Girl Meets World was alright. It wasn't too bad. They had it was good to see everybody come back because, of course, with Corey being the teacher and Topanga being the mother, they was in almost every episode anyway.
Yeah.
But then bringing back all the other characters together, Eric, Sean, Angela even, Mr. Feeney, the father and the sister, and bringing them all back was good to see. And as the episodes went by, it felt like it went in the direction of Girl Meets World, but then it was brought back as a revival of them dealing with being older and making appearances, because after a while they started to have the daughter Maya in the show, but at the same time they started to have like Eric and Sean and had little storylines for them. So it felt like it was like a side A and B of A Boy Meets World continued as the later episodes.
Yeah. I wasn't really the biggest fan of Girl Meets World because I felt like since it was a Disney Channel, it was too cheesy for me. But once they started bringing back old characters and stuff like that, I started to watch it a little bit. I noticed the story between Sean character and Girl Meets World, with him and the girl, and then Riley, the other character, the other girl character, stuff like that. And honestly, I would keep 100. I watch Girl Meets World for the nostalgic. I would keep 100. I watch it for the nostalgic.
Which is probably mostly all of us our age did too.
Pretty much. And I enjoyed it 100%. I'm not gonna hold you for the nostalgic, but I felt like I always say this when we do the review on Boy Meets World, Girl Meets World. I feel like if it was on a different channel, I feel like it could have done better. I feel like they could have went more deeper with the stories and stuff like that. If it was on a different channel.
Well, I feel like somebody else is gonna pick it up somewhere.
It might be possible. I feel like they might do it sitting now Disney and being more not OD kiddie now, because now they're playing like literally adult stuff on Disney Plus. I feel like it might be possible for them to pick it up to somebody to pick it up to make it another reboot. I wouldn't be surprised at this point. They're making another
if it gets revived again,
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Because it seems like the characters who were in the original, they generally wanted to keep the show going.
Yeah, they did.
And they loved coming back to work with each other. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, they have amazing chemistry.
And hey, I mean, I wish I ain't gonna lie. I kind of wish that another reboot show would have happened, like Family Matters, if they would have continued it.
Good thing I got a question. I got a question about that later. So save that answer. Save that.
Okay.
Answer. You read my mind, Roddy. Save that answer. I got a question about that later. But yeah, but for real, Boy Meets World was an amazing show. Like I said, growing up, it gave a lot of lessons. I wish Girl Meets World was for that as well, but of course, but Girl Meets World for the ladies anyway. So I wouldn't expect that. But good thing I watched Girl Meets World for the nostalgic. So yeah, Girl Meets World wasn't really fun. Doesn't say that. Girl Meets World was not fun. It was more for the ladies, but yeah. So the next show, I'm not sure you watched this this reboot. You probably watched the original, but I got it on this list because I did watch the reboot for this. I got iCarly, which was one of the Nickelodeon shows. The original iCarly came out in 2007, and then later it got picked up on Paramount Plus, and it was revised on 2021. And have you watched the original or the reboot of iCarly, Roddy?
I watched iCarly, but not like all the time. Like every now and then, I was watching it when it was in the run.
And you never watched the original? You never watched the reboot?
Nah.
Okay, so let me pick this up. So I can hold you. I watched the original iCarly, but it was too kiddie for me. Like, during this time, I was like a little older. I watched it for a little bit, and it was too kiddie for me. I was like, yeah, this is not for me. But when it got picked up by Paramount Plus, I was curious about it because they was older now, and it was a reboot, and it wasn't a kiddie reboot. And I ain't gonna hold you. They did their thing on the reboot for iCarly. Characters that was more older. It was more adult oriented and stuff like that. The topic was really interesting, and it was a fun reboot. The reboot had 2 seasons. They had 3 seasons. Sadly, Paramount Plus canceled it, which I'm a little shocked that they did. Actually, I'm not gonna hold you. I'm shocked that it was one show that I actually shocked that Paramount canceled. It was iCarly, but of course, this also got affected by the writer's strike. A lot of other characters that came back from the original, except for Sam, due to reasons about dance the past and stuff like that. But I ain't gonna hold you. They did really good with this reboot though, and the story for this reboot was really interesting. I did wish they had one more season at least to finish story. Cause it ended off where I calling me her mother. When she meet her mother, it ended from there. So I felt like I never could pick up iCarly. I ain't gonna hold you, but it was a cool reboot. I ain't gonna hold you. It was a cool reboot. But that's all I gotta say about that. But yeah, next show we're gonna talk about is That 70s Show. And that 70s Show came out in 1998. It had 10 seasons. First 9 seasons were really dope. Up to last season when Eric was in it, and David cast him, and it went downhill after that. And the 70s Show was really cool. Then they had the 80s Show, which was connected to the original. And I guess you call this a spinoff. You call it a spinoff, but it was connected to the original character, and that only had 1 season, and that got canceled. And then now in 2023, they had that 90s Show, which is a reboot to the original, which is about Eric and Donna's daughter as the main character. Kelso's son is also a main character in the show. And yeah, how you feel about that 70s Show and that 90s Show?
That 70s Show, I loved it. It was hot, it was fresh, it was funny. I loved the characters on that 70s Show. Michael, of course, Mila Kunis was what was her character name? Jackie. Jack. And the rest of the gang. It was a great show. I liked that 70s Show. That 90s Show, it was cool. It was watchable, I watched every episode, even though it was like they only had 10 episodes on when they did the reboot.
Yeah, 10 episodes so far.
Yeah, I flew through those episodes, and it was interesting. It still had the same energy. It was just and then of course with the antics of Red and Kitty and all that stuff, and the daughter trying to explore herself in the house with the neighborhood kids and stuff. It had the same feel, so it didn't really feel like it was too far off, and I liked it.
Yeah, and so let's see, that's the 70s Show. I didn't watch that 70s Show when it was on Fox or doing it run. I watched it when the car played
reruns.
And it was really good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every character. Ashton Kutcher character was my favorite, Michael. That dude always made me laugh. Of course, Faz was funny as well. Minnie Kumail's character, I loved Jackie. And then every character on that show was really good. It was a real character. Everything about them was real good. Every personality was real good. It was a real funny show. It was a real funny show. And of course, Red and Kitty. Enough said about that. But of course, when that 90s Show came out, I was curious about it. And I watched that 90s Show. And it was really good so far. I liked that it brought back Red and Kitty, which brought a good feel to the show. It's good to have them back for now, because no kids, no new characters, they can't carry the show yet. I'm pretty sure soon they're gonna carry the show in future episodes, in future seasons. But it was good to see Red and Kitty back. It's good to see some of the old characters come back too. Good to see Donna, Eric come back, Jackie, and Michael come back as well. Good to see some of the kids are part of the show. And yeah, also good to see Faz back too. Faz came back as well. I mean, we wish we could see High, but for reasons. Yeah. But the 90s Show was a really good show. And yet they got renewed for season 2. I believe season 2 should be later this year. I think that show also got affected by the writing strike. I know originally it put that 16 episodes in season 2. I'm not sure if that's going to change, but yeah. And that 90s Show was a really good show, and they did a good job with that 90s Show. Alright, next show that we're going to talk about.
I'm glad that everybody is still up and well and doing it.
I agree. I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that 100%. All right, next show that we're gonna talk about is That's So Raven. So the original That's So Raven came out in 2003 with star Raven Simone, had Orlando Brown, had I can't remember the girl who named Chelsea name, and it was about a girl who was psychic, and then in which have I believe That's So Raven had 4 seasons. I think it was 4 to 5 seasons. I believe 4 to 5 seasons. But then they had a reboot later called Raven Home. That came out in 2017. With about pretty much Raven family. And Chelsea's son was also in it. So we're going to start with how you feel about That's So Raven. And then you watch Raven Home.
I love That's So Raven when it came out. No. Raven with the sidekick. And I wish I had psychic powers. That's how interested I was. I was literally sitting there watching almost all the episodes, all the storylines. Her and Orlando was definitely my favorite characters on the show. Yeah. And then the father, whenever he would appear, he'd be funny too. He'd be the comic relief. Raven's dad.
Yeah.
So yeah. I love That's So Raven. It was a good show. I didn't necessarily watch Raven's Home. I think I only watched like 1 episode, but I didn't continue.
Okay. Yeah, That's So Raven was a really good show. You know, it was one of the best Disney Channel show I could do this time. You know, I agree with you. Orlando was one of my favorite characters as well on That's So Raven. And That's So Raven was a fun show. I agree with you. I want a psychic powers as well, son. I really want a psychic power as well. And yeah, Raven, That's So Raven was a really good show. Raven Home, I was curious about Raven Home because I was a fan of That's So Raven, so I was curious to watch it, and it was a pretty good show. Of course, it was not like That's So Raven, but it was still a pretty good show. It was basically about Raven's kids, her twin kids. I forgot the kid's name. They were twins. One girl was smart, and the other one, the son had psychic power, just like Raven. And it was pretty cool. Chelsea was on it. She had a son on it. And it was a fun thing. They brought back some of the characters. They brought back the dude of Devon, who was Raven's boyfriend in the original series, which is the baby father in the reboot. They brought back the father in later seasons, and the mother came back in later seasons as well. And they brought back a couple of people. They even brought back the girl from 3LW. Adrian character was on Raven Home as well. And yeah, Raven Home was a good show. I didn't finish the show yet, so I didn't get to the later seasons. But to this day, Raven Home is still on the air. It did not get canceled. It's still on the air. I believe about to hit season 7. I believe. So yeah. Shout out to Raven Home. And the last show that we're going to mention is, well, when I started watching the show, it already had original shows already. And they had their reboot show in 2001. When 14 seasons, they had another reboot show in 2016. And then they're supposed to have a newest reboot show, which we don't know when that's coming out. We got Degrassi. So the first Degrassi show came out in the 1979, which was called The Kids of Degrassi Street.
Wow.
Which started off as like I believe a movie, but it turned into a show called The Kids of Degrassi Street. Then those kids on that show became on this show called Degrassi Junior High, which started with Snake, Spike, and but there was a junior high. Then 2 years later, it started Degrassi High, which Fremont had them and have some more characters on it. Then, Degrassi took a break during the 90s. And they came back in 2001 with Degrassi, The Next Generation.
It's a lot of history, bro.
It is fun for 40 years. 40 years. Degrassi's been around. 40 years.
And I want to know if they probably changed the creator multiple times during that thing.
No, the same creator for all the shows.
You lying. This is an old ass man at this point.
A woman ran
Oh,
the show.
this is an old woman at this point.
Yeah, a woman. She ran the show. And fun fact, she got a documentary coming out, just talking about 40 years of Degrassi. So.
Oh, so we get to see her. I get to see her face. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's clips online now. I've seen a little bit. It's clips online now. But yeah, Degrassi that we're gonna talk about is 2001. Degrassi: The Next Generation, with some of the original cast is on The Next Generation. Snake, Spike, Joey character was in the original, Caitlin's in the original, and yeah. So, how you feel about Degrassi: The Next Generation?
Degrassi: Next Generation was great. It was a lot of deep topics in every episode, and when they say it goes there, it really went there.
That's a fact, son. That is a fact.
Like, they touched on a lot of, it's a whole show, so they touched on a lot of stuff.
A lot of topics, yo. A lot of topics.
Yeah. I remember the Hazel episode. She was doing a project, and somebody did something on her. Somebody wrote something on her thing, like Muslim or something. I forgot.
Yeah.
And some of those episodes with the hate crime just made me cry, because it's like the whole racism and stuff in the school.
Yeah. And
then, of course, with the whole, there's a lot of topics. They had, I think everybody was just going through something. That's how you could think of Degrassi.
Yeah, and I like to hold you. Degrassi was a really good show, because Degrassi Next Generation came out at the same time when we was in high school. So a lot of things that those people on those shows were going through, in reality, a lot of us who was in high school during this time, from our school and other people out who were our same age, was going through the same exact thing.
Yeah, very relatable.
Very relatable on certain topics, like the culture, pregnancy, cheating, some parents' abuse, rape, a lot of stuff. We all could relate to all these topics, and like you said, yes, that show really went there. Like, they talk about every topic, drugs, a lot of stuff. And they brought back they had a lot of memorable characters, during this show, and it was an amazing show. I enjoyed Degrassi. Of course, first 10 seasons, I enjoyed the first 10 seasons, and the last 4 just wasn't hitting the same, because it wasn't for us anymore. It was for the younger generations. So, and then the reboot after that. So it I feel like the characters our age graduated, we pretty much graduated too. And you learn a lot from that show. I hope you learn a lot from that show. Especially if you watched it during the time that you was in high school as well. You definitely learn a lot during that show. It was a really, really dope show. It's Next Generation, they went on for 14 seasons. And they have many memorable characters like Paige, Jimmy, Spinner, Emma, Manny Santos. Oh my God, Manny Santos. Craig, Danny. That's a list of characters, man. We can't even go on. We might have to do a whole episode of Degrassi on itself. But yeah, Degrassi was a really dope show and had 14 seasons. Then they had another reboot. I wouldn't say reboot. It was more of a, I wouldn't call this one a reboot. It was more of a continuation, basically, from Next Generation, called the New Class, the Next Class. That was on Netflix for 4 seasons. And I was just curious because I was a fan of Degrassi, so I was curious to watch it. And it was just pretty much picking up where it left off. And it wasn't the same, and stuff like that. But it is rumored that they have a new reboot was supposed to come out last year. That was supposed to be on HBO Max. And I heard the original cast was supposed to be like the teachers or the parents and stuff like that. But HBO Max scrapped it. So, yeah, I think it might be a possibility for that reboot to come out. But, yeah.
Somebody gonna
pick it up, yeah. But would you want to see a reboot of Degrassi?
I don't know. I feel like for me, my attention span is already gone. I think it depends if I see clips and it intrigue me, then I'll see from there. That's it.
I know for me, the only way I would want to see the reboot of Degrassi if the original cast, some of the original cast is involved in it.
That's
the original cast is involved in it. Yeah, I think that's the only way that I would really be excited to see a reboot of Degrassi. But other than that, yeah. All right, Roddy. So I got a question to ask you. So if you had it your way, and you had to pick a show that had not been rebooted yet, either they come back for a new season, the same cast, or come back with a whole new cast, what show would you want to see a reboot for? You could name maybe 3 to 5 shows.
Wow.
Yeah, name
3 to 5.
Yeah.
I can't even think of more than one.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Alright, I'll go first. Alright, so if I had to have it my way, I had to pick a show that I would want to see a reboot show for. First thing first, since this show was supposed to be rebooted, but Disney canceled it, and Hulu didn't want to do it, Lizzie McGuire is one. I want to see Lizzie McGuire reboot because it was supposed to be more of an adult themed reboot. It was not supposed to be a kiddie reboot. So Lizzie McGuire is one of them that I want to see a reboot for. The second one, and this is one of your favorite shows, Roddy, but I ain't gonna hold you. I would be curious to see a reboot of this show, even with the same characters. I mean, not really more of a continuation. Near Undercover.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Near Undercover, I want to see a reboot for. The third show, I feel like this one is possible to happen because with this show, you can have a new cast of the show, but the original people could still be involved. Just like Degrassi show, this type of show could switch up with the cast. A different world. I want to see a reboot with Different World. I heard rumors that it was supposed to be a reboot, and Debbie Allen was supposed to be involved in it, but I don't know what happened with that. That's one show I want to see a reboot, A Different World. The fourth one, since this one just had a movie recently, this dude had a movie recently, it would be pretty good to see a reboot show with them two together. Even though one of them did have a show, but it didn't do that great. But with them two together, I feel like this show would be successful. A reboot of Kenan and Kel. And the last one, now this one will be a little hard. The last one, I got to think of this one for a little bit. Okay, so this reboot, I feel like this show deserves an ending. Cause this show never got an ending. And even though I enjoy this show, I know a lot of the ladies will enjoy this as well. Girlfriend deserves an ending. Whether it's a movie or another season, a reboot season or something, Girlfriend deserves an ending. So I'm gonna add Girlfriend as my last one.
Wow.
Yeah. And what about you, Wahid? If you can't name 5, name at least 3.
Well, if I could have I think I would have like Family Matters do a reboot. I mean, Laura and Steve continue their story. They have kids, and they see them living adult lives. You see Harriet and Carl play with the babies and whatnot, and you see Eddie have some career, and he comes around. He lives with them, but he's still out doing his thing. He just staying there temporarily, and he let's see who else. Yeah, you have Eddie and whoever he's with, and I don't know if Waldo and what's her name will be on it, but yeah, that would be the reboot for Family Matters if I could. Maybe.
Hold on, right before you continue, I got a fun thing about Family Matters. So the crazy thing about Family Matters, they were supposed to have a proper ending. They were supposed to have a 10th season. That's the suck part about it. I actually would want that too. They were supposed to have a season 10, if they didn't go to CBS. They will have season 10 where Steve and Lauren supposed to get married. If you notice in the season 9, Eddie Ray had a career. He became a cop just like his father. So they could have continued that in the reboot and stuff like. He could have been like a bit cheap by then and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, he did have a career. I forgot about
that. Yeah. So I mean, if Eddie made a reboot would have been cool. I would agree with that. That would have been a cool reboot. That would have been cool. All right, continue, Roddy. Continue.
For some reason, if they would have did a reboot of Wayne's Brothers, I love the Wayne's Brothers. Like, can't tell me nothing. I just wanted, in the reboot, of course, Sean would get married and have a kid and a wife and kid, and Marlon would still be pursuing his modeling thing, but he finally makes it, and he turns into a different person and acts and live in a fancy life and try to play Sean and stuff, and don't make time for him and stuff. You know, that's how we see the reboot happening.
Yeah.
And Pops will be around scolding them, even though the diner would be relocated to a better location. That would be the premise of it. Because, you know, if you do a reboot, you gotta change up some stuff.
Yeah, but I think the only thing with that, you know, John Ritter, passed away. So I got to go out of him, the diner with his legacy, you know, and stuff like that. Unless you talk about if John Ritter was still alive, I guess you talk about.
I don't think. Well, who knows if they're gonna do it now? I mean, I know it's still possible, but who knows if they want to go that route? But I understand that it would be if they do it now, like today. Yeah, they will mention John Witherspoon in it, of course, and whatnot. They would have introduced a good friend of Pops. And he'd be running the diner.
Oh yeah, that could work. Yeah,
or a cousin or a brother that was very close to him, and they just reminisce about it and everything. And
that could work too. Yeah, that could work.
That's how they do in the honor.
That could definitely work. And do you got one more?
I can't think. I can't think of another one.
All right, there you go. All right, so before you go, we're gonna play a segment game, and the game will be called "Would You Watch This Reboot?" So I'll list some shows that's reboot that's out now, basically, and some that's announced to be coming out soon. And my question to you is, would you watch this? Or if you have watched it, say yes, I watched it before. And if you did watch it, did you like it or not? And so are you ready? And I'll be included in this as well. Alright, so this show I got, it was announced that it was supposed to be a reboot, but it had not been released yet. Would you watch a Smart Guy reboot?
Yes, I would.
I would as well. I would as well. This also was announced recently. Sister Sister had the reboot. Would you watch the Sister Sister reboot?
Of course.
Yes, I would as well. Okay. This reboot came out already, but did you watch the Charm reboot?
Definitely did not.
I'm not gonna hold you. When Charm reboot came out, I was skeptical about it. You know, I wasn't a fan of it at first, but then when I actually took the time and watched it, it was really, really good. It was better than I expected. Of course, it wasn't better than the original, but it was better than I expected. So I'm gonna say, yeah, I did watch the Charm reboot. It was better than I expected. Did you watch the DuckTales reboot?
Definitely did not.
I didn't watch too much of it. I only watched like a few episodes, but I heard a lot of people say this reboot was really good. Shockingly enough, this reboot was really good. Okay, would you watch a Darkwing Duck reboot?
Yeah.
I would as well. They announced Darkwing Duck having a reboot. I don't know when it's coming out. They teased it on the Chip and Dale movie that came out a couple years ago. And like at the end, Darkwing Duck was at the end, and they pretty much teased that a reboot was coming out. I don't know when it's coming out, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Alright. This next show, the original of it came out in the 80s, but they came out with a reboot CW a couple years ago. Did you watch the Dynasty reboot?
Definitely did not.
Okay. I started watching it recently, and it's pretty cool. I mean, I didn't watch all of it. I only watched like 3 episodes of it, and that's that. Did you watch the Walker reboot?
Nope.
I actually watched Walker. Actually, the only reason I watched it because my dude from Supernatural was on it. I watched the first 2 seasons of Walker. It was pretty interesting. I did watch the original 2 with Chuck Norris. But yeah, it wasn't my cup of tea. But they actually did pretty good with this reboot though. But I'm pretty much behind this reboot. I'm not gonna hold you. Did you watch 91210 reboot? They had 2 reboots. 91210.
I definitely did not.
The first reboot was when it came on CW. I did watch that one. That's the one that had one of the girlfriends, Degrassi, was on there. That had Mac Wow was one of the main characters on there, and they had Uncle Becky from Full House was on this reboot. And I'm not gonna hold you. This was a really good reboot for 91210. Next show I got is MacGyver. Did you watch a MacGyver reboot?
Definitely no.
I did not watch this reboot either. Did you watch Maximum PI reboot?
Nope.
I did not watch it either. Did you watch The Conners, which is a Roseanne reboot?
I know of it, but I didn't watch one episode. I'm sorry.
Me either. I did not.
The rest of them I definitely didn't know about.
The thing was, I did watch Roseanne when I was younger a little bit. It was one of those times where if it came on, I watched it, but it was just like with one of that thing. No, I did not watch when Roseanne came back for that last season before she got fired from her show. And no, I did not watch The Conners either. And like you, I didn't really care about it. I'm gonna keep it 100. I didn't care about it. So this one is a tricky one. So I guess you can say this was a two reboot show. So Rugrats. So did you watch Rugrats All Grown Up? That's one reboot. Okay, of course you did. I watched it, but I didn't watch it like that. I remember because back then I didn't have Nickelodeon. I didn't have the luxury to watch Rugrats All Grown Up as much as I want to. I probably watch it now, but yeah, I didn't watch All Grown Up. But also, did you watch the newer reboot from Rugrats that came out like 2 years ago? It's on Panama Plus.
I didn't care for it.
Me either. The way the design was, I wasn't feeling it either. And I heard they changed a lot of stuff for that reboot. So yeah. Did you watch the Powerpuff Girl reboot that came out in 2017? I think.
I peeped it, but I didn't stick it out.
Same over here.
It was too much changes. It was too much. It just didn't feel right to me.
I agree. It didn't feel like the original at all for me. I agree. It didn't feel like the original at all. So
it's like one of them things you just watch to see what it was like, and then
yeah.
If you like it, you'll continue. If not, you'll be like, nah. So I didn't like it.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you on that. I forgot this was a reboot. Did you watch The Flash? No. You said no?
I said no.
I forgot this was a reboot because they came out with The Flash in the 90s. But of course I watched The Flash. I watched it for 10 seasons. 9 seasons. Of course I watched The Flash, you know. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. Have you watched How I Met Your Father? It was a reboot to How I Met Your Mother.
I peeped it for like 2 episodes, but I didn't stick with it.
I did watch How You Met Your Father because only reason I watched it because Harry Styles was on it, and and it was a pretty good show. I never really fully watched the original though, which had like 9 seasons. But I did watch the reboot. It only had 2 seasons. Hulu canceled it. Yeah. Did you watch Frasier reboot?
No.
funny thing about Frasier was a reboot on its own anyway, but with a spinoff. I was like, it was a spinoff from Cheers, and then it had the reboot that came out last year. And no, I did not watch the Frasier reboot either. I didn't watch the Frasier reboot. Alright, did you watch the Goosebumps reboot?
The what?
Goosebumps.
No, I didn't even know they had one.
Yeah, they did. It came out last year on Disney Plus and Hulu. And I can talk about this. I'm not gonna hold you. I was curious to watch it. So like, oh, Goosebumps back. Like at first I wasn't gonna watch it, but then I took the chance and it was way better than I expected. I was like, okay, they did a good job on this reboot. I was like, wow, okay. So yeah, I did watch this reboot. It was pretty interesting. I'm not gonna hold you. It was pretty interesting. Alright, did you watch Lethal Weapon? That came off Fox.
I did watch it, but I didn't like it that much, so I didn't continue it.
Yeah, you already know if you know about Lethal Weapon, it was a reboot based on the movies, and they turned it to a show. And I did watch the show. It was pretty good for the first 2 seasons until they replaced the white guy, and had added Sean Penn Scott, which made it unwatchable after that. No, I watched it. I try to continue to watch it because of David Wayne, because he's not my guy. But that's that basically. There's a lot of drama surrounding that show. This show was supposed to have a reboot, but then it got canceled. But I'm gonna mention this anyway. Would you watch a Boondocks reboot?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I would as well. I heard a lot of the characters were supposed to come back, but of course, when John Witherspoon died, a lot of their plans changed, and then they tried to put somebody else in Grid there. I heard this didn't work out, and then they canceled it altogether. This was supposed to be on HBO Max. So yeah. Next I got is Gargoyles. There was enough that Gargoyles is getting a reboot. Would you watch a Gargoyles reboot?
Yeah.
Yep, I definitely would too. I feel like I need to refresh watching the original series. But yeah. And last but not least, did you watch Cobra Kai, which is a reboot to Karate Kid?
No.
I did. Cobra Kai was a really good show, man. It's a really good show. Really interesting. I love what they do with the whole Karate Kid franchise. They turned it into a show. And I grew up watching Karate Kid, so watching the show and seeing like the characters who was in the original grew up, it was really great to see. And then and that was this episode of the Old School Show. You know, thank you, bro, for always doing the show with me, son. This was a really fun episode, and happy that I'll be doing the show again. You know,
definitely, yeah.
There you go. And Roddy, let them know where they could drop your social media, where they could find you, and tell them about you everything that you're doing.
Yeah, man. So you can follow me on IG at star.timeroddy and Threads, and also make sure you check out Star Time Podcast on all streaming platforms and YouTube by typing in Star Time with Roddy. Yeah, so season 2 just did a mid-season, and we'll come back very soon.
Alright, there you go. And you can check out MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast presents the Old School Show with myself and the Star Rider Rod every 4th Thursday, part of Spinoff Series Thursdays. Thank you, and we'll be right back. Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, like the podcast and the Premier Boy podcast. And this commercial is brought to you by the Premier Boy podcast, where where we talk about anything about the culture. You know, hosted by myself, Ken, aka MrGentleman, Mr. Aaron Sands from King Talk with Aaron Sands, the star Roddy, who is also my co-host of the Old School Show, and long live the Chief Mallie Mal. And we talk many topics from politics, music, sex, love, relationships, and many more. And also every topic that's going on in the news right now. Many of our topics are very controversial, and the podcast show might not be for everybody because we talk about many explicit content, and yeah. So if y'all decided to check out the show, y'all be warned because y'all might need a drink or two. And yeah, because this podcast is so crazy. I'm shocked that it had not got canceled yet. So if y'all looking forward to listen to the premiere of the podcast, check it out on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and many more. Each and every Wednesday at 12 a.m. You can check out the premiere of the podcast with myself, Mr. Aaron Sands, Star Roddy, and long live the Chief Mallie Mal. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman. Have a good day and night wherever you're listening to this episode. Now back to the show. Yeah! I just want to take the time to thank everybody for tuning into the latest episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast presents the Old School Show. Every fourth Thursdays, a part of Spinoff series Thursdays. I want to thank my co-host, of course, the bro, the star, Roddy, for doing the show with me, and always fun doing the show with you. And we got 2 more episodes left of the Old School Show. But y'all already know we are. Y'all can check out MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sunday for the main series, and every Thursday for Spinoff Series Thursdays, where we have shows like A Conversation About Music Podcast every first Thursday at 12 p.m. Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Ms. Vanna B every second and third Thursday at 12 p.m. and the Old School Show with myself and the Star Rider every fourth Thursday at 12 p.m. You can check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Good Pods, and many more. Y'all can rate the show 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Podchases. The more y'all rate the show, the more people know about MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. If you want me to guest on MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast for the main series or any other spin-off series Thursday show, send me a bio about yourself and everything that you do to my email, kenypgent@gmail.com, or hit me up on social media, Ken_MrGentleman. I repeat, Ken, Ken _Mr. MrGentleman, GentleMan. We can set something up. I am still looking for 2 guests for the final episodes of season 7, and a whole lot of guests for season 8. So hit me up so we can set something up. Also, y'all can check me out on the Premier Boys Podcast. Myself, Aaron Sands, Star Rider, long live the Chief Mallie Mal. New episodes every Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Season 4 of the Premier Boys Podcast every Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Check out other shows from the Premier Powerverse. King Talk with Aaron Sands, hosted by Aaron King Talk Sands, every Friday at 12 p.m. Star Time Podcast is hosted by the Star Rider every Monday at 12 p.m. And Welcome to the Trilogies, hosted by Long Live the Chief Mallie Mal, every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Check out and support every show from the Premier Powerverse. And y'all can add me on Good Pod, Ken, MrGentleman. Y'all already know Good Podcast, the many independent podcasters. We see what everybody listens to. We rate each other's shows, and we have the charts. At this time for MrGentleman Lifestyle Achievements, where we spotlight everything MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast is doing. And due to this recording, time for the Good Pod charts. The top 100 shows. We are number 6 on the normal charts, number 5 on the indie charts. For society and culture, we are still number 1 for society and culture. We've been number 1 for 7 days. And yeah, thank y'all for continue to support MrGentleman like the podcast. And for top 100 episodes, we are number 5 for the normal charts and number 7 on the indie chart for episode 137, Love is Love 2024, the Valentine's Day episode. And I just want to say thank you everybody for continuing to support and listen to Mr. Gentleman, Like That Podcast, So Good Pod, and any other platform. It really means a lot. Once again, thank y'all. Check out the official website, www.realmrgentlemanlikethatpodcast.com. You can listen to every episode of Mr. Gentleman Like The Podcast. You can watch every video of Mr. Gentleman Like The Podcast, from the audio versions, from Mr. Gentleman Like The Podcast TV, from Mr. Gentleman Fact Quote Today, and subscribe to the YouTube at Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman Like The Podcast. Check out every guest that's been on the show, all 65 guests. Check out every guest appearance that I've been on, more guest appearances coming soon, and of course, buy some merch from the Mr. Gentleman Like The Podcast store at tpublic.com. Just search Mr. Gentleman Like The Podcast, or y'all can buy it through the website. We have shirts, hoodies, mugs, and many more. Support the Mr. Gentleman Like The Podcast store so we could buy more equipment to upgrade your listening experiences. So support the website, www.realmrgentlemanlikethatpodcast.com. And once again, thank y'all for tuning into another new episode of Mr. Gentleman Like That Podcast Presents The Old School Show, a part of Spinoff Series Thursdays. And we have another episode of The Old School Show next Thursdays at 12 p.m. where we are discussing one-hit wonders. So now on normal schedule, another episode of The Old School Show next Thursday. Have a good day or night, wherever you're listening to this episode.
Hi, this is Marsha, and you're listening to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast.